Well, the lobbyists turn cost into, I guess, kind of a wedge issue, similar to some of the wedge issues we saw in the last election. But what I like to think, or what I like to tell people is that cost is not, excuse me, is not the issue, because we're paying for it anyway, and we're probably paying more for it than we would if we just paid for people's health care up front as a basic right. The issue might be more who gets the money in our system, and these guys are in, well, I shouldn't say guys, these companies are quite entrenched and quite used to getting a lot of money from our healthcare system.
And when you say these companies, who are you talking about specifically?
Insurance companies largely, and I guess drug companies to some extent.
Yeah,
and Robin, do you agree or disagree with this now?
No.
Now that you've heard the whole thing.
Okay, now that I've heard the whole thing, I do believe that definitely plays a role. But I think there's a bigger agenda here, and in that, it's a divide and conquer thing, and the fact that it's the notion of scarcity that we put out there, that we have. I mean, as Americans, we have to pick a side, and like the people who are getting welfare are somehow demonized, and so that there's a real social. I mean, if you listen to that floor debate up here at the Missouri State Capitol the other night, it would have made you just sick to hear it. That it's about more social programs, more social welfare. That it's welfare dependency and all these words like this. So when you put that kind of connotation, that's what disturbs me. I guess is what I'm trying to say, is that if we're, I know I've had to use entitlement programs. If it weren't for entitlement programs, I wouldn't be able to be here having this conversation with you. So what I'm trying to say is, if there aren't those safety nets in place, and if we demonize them or make them feel like somehow you're less of a person to even go and try to get that is not going to help at all. And I'm just appalled to hear that we have federal dollars that could pay for these things, and our state is rejecting them.
Let me stop for just one second. We have a caller that I want to bring on the air. This is Andrew from Columbia, and he has a question. Andrew, you're on with us on Intersection.
Yeah, hi. My question is, for those of us who have not or not yet been directly affected by the economic downturn, what are the best or most effective ways for us to help out those who have been affected?
Okay, that's a good question. What are the most effective ways
panel?
for people not affected by the downturn to help out the other people? Is that right? Did I get that right, Andrew?
Yeah. How could we best help out?
Okay. Yeah. How can other people help out the people that are affected?
Something I was going to talk about here is the silver lining on all this, to me, is that we're going to see a fundamental shift in the way our economy operates. Exactly. And the recovery is focusing on green jobs and environmentally friendly work and how to make money off of that. That we're going to actually be able to make money to do the right thing for our planet and for our neighbors. And so I think, I don't think I'm speaking for my agency at this point, my personal opinion is that by being socially conscious and by riding your bike to work and once a week instead of buying gas, we need to reduce our consumption of fossil fuels. I truly believe that that's going to help to make that shift.
So really, right now, if I ride my bike to work on Monday, then that's going to help somebody in need. I mean, that's what can be done right now in a more concrete sense.
Well, but I think that is
volunteer.
A concrete sense.
Volunteer.
I mean, every one of us has some type of volunteer component, okay, of what we do. We need expertise in lots of different things, from whether it's financial education, whether it's being involved in trying to get national health care passed, or if it's coming and doing a life skills training on how to make ends meet. I mean, there are tons of things that people can do to get involved.
And we have to keep in mind, too, that part of the problem with the legislature and Congress is that they're looking for quick solutions, and you kind of alluded to that a second ago. Yeah. There are not quick solutions to poverty, and so by trying to cut corners now, you're actually increasing expenses down the road. Right. So when you ask about concrete things you can do, it may not feel like that is going to have an effect, because it's not going to be tomorrow that riding your bike to work has an effect. But all of us doing that 20 years down the road is going to lead to incredible savings.
Well, and I think
we've got to be thinking long term.
Sorry,
yeah, go ahead, Brenda.
I think another thing that we need to look at, and it sounds kind of silly, but that is that all of our programs for the last 60 years at least, and longer than that, have focused on more like charity, like helping people, giving handouts to people who are down in their luck or whatever. And one of the things that I try to do is to involve people in their own solutions. So as policymakers, educators, advocates, whoever we are, what we need to do is sit down with the people that we say we serve and get to know them and listen to what what needs to be done. A great example of that is I don't remember the year, Robin, but at one point, I believe it was 2003, Missouri was number 48 in the percentage of food stamp eligible families who actually participated in the program. Mm-hmm. And at that time, GROW was just getting started. It was, I guess you've been around for a year or so. We actually put pressure on the food stamp office in Jefferson City to change the rules, because what GROW members told us what was wrong. Things like, I can't go to an office 10 miles away because it's not in my county. I have to drive 50 miles to the one in my county. Right. I can't do this over the phone, and transportation is a barrier. So our folks kind of educated us as a group, and we put pressure on them and insisted on some reforms to how food stamps were implemented. It had nothing to do with new funding. And within how many years, Robin? I don't remember. 4 years?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, Missouri went from number 48 in the country to number 1 in the country.
And that's huge.
And I think I know policymakers acknowledge that when they actually listened to the people that they were serving, they had the answers in terms of how to run the program better. So I don't think we can underestimate how wise people are who live in poverty. They're not stupid, and when it comes to their lives, they understand their life a heck of a lot better than I do, or Darin does, or Robin does. So you've got to listen to how we should do things.
And I'm going to put it out there. I'm a former welfare mom. I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I had to use Pell Grants to go to school. I was Head Start mom. I was all those things, and I just want people to know, if you truly want to help somebody, support those kind of programs.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, financially, or like I said, when something comes up, politically, and you can get involved, support those things. I mean, the other thing is, it goes back to what you're saying. I mean, when I say volunteer, get engaged in your community. Get to know the community that we're talking about. Because once you get to know us...
And how do you do that? Like,
you can join GROW. You can join GROW, and I'm telling you right now, depending on what lens you want to look at through for GROW. GROW is multifaceted. Some people, if you look through the lens, you see a rowdy group taking on City Hall.
Bunch of troublemakers.
But
or whatever.
if you look through another lens, you see African Americans and Latinos and low-income families coming together and solving their problems. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Trying to do that. You'll come in and you'll see a group of people who are making phone calls, running a phone bank all by themselves to call and get try to get their health care benefits.